Right on. I guess that's our cue, Coach. Let me start here. Season's here. I know you guys have been in the room quite a bit. The first, I guess you guys have been in the room for probably a month now. And I mean, those of us that know wrestling, you see these guys year round. What do you like about this year's team?
Yeah, this year's team is, you know, we've got a good group of young guys that are willing to work hard and they're excited for this season. You know, they saw the potential that we had last year, and they've kind of taken that momentum into this season, and it's really kind of motivated them and brought some energy into the wrestling room so far this year. Since we've been in the room and in the preseason, they've been working really hard, and I'm excited, and it just makes me a little bit more excited when they're putting in the work and getting after it.
Absolutely. This is your fifth year, right?
This will be my fourth season, I believe.
Fourth
Four
season.
and a
Okay.
half, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I lose track here.
I know, right? It seems
Yep.
like they all run together, and I know last year was really weird for everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, like you have that many years at the same program. It's a lot of people like to talk about having your guys in the room now. What have been kind of what's that been like for you? Being established now at a program. There are mostly your guys in the room, a lot of Iowa kids in that room. What have been some of the challenges in terms of just like building the program to where it's at right now?
Yeah, probably a big challenge is always culture. In getting the right kind of people, and so that was really big, and just kind of getting some guys in that were leaders. When you're starting over and you're trying to bring in the guys that you want, that are at the caliber you want, sometimes there's a little bit of conflict, with upperclassmen and underclassmen. But now we're in a really good place, and the culture on the team is really good, and that just takes time, and that's not something that you can just come in and change right away. So we struggled a little early on with building that right culture, getting the right mindset, setting the right standards and expectations, and just doing what we needed to do to be one of the best teams in the country, and that's our goal. So that was probably the biggest struggle for us, and now it's kind of fun to see that coming to fruition, and getting the culture, the right expectations, and the right standards for what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, it'd probably be easy to look, not too far from where you guys are at, and see Grandview and what they've been doing. And, that's kind of what everybody's chasing when it comes to NAIA. Is there any thought to hey, like they didn't win it last year. They are vulnerable. Like there are, if you guys bring some of your best and you guys do the things that you need to do, like anything can happen during those couple of days at the national tournament. Like obviously you got to set yourself up to get there. But have you thought about that entering the season? Like what that means, them not winning it last year finally?
Yeah, I think as a coach, you kind of always see the potential, and you kind of know what your guys are capable of. So I think, from a coach perspective, you kind of knew it, but I think it helps more so as the athletes. I think the athletes that competed against Grandview sometimes would maybe believe like, man, these guys are Grandview. These are the best. I mean, they haven't been beaten in 10 years and, 9 years. And now I think the country as a whole can kind of say, and nothing against the program. I mean, they're great. They're still they're projected the number one team in the country. So I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think that opens some of the athletes' eyes and realize like, hey, these guys can be beat, and you got to fight for it. Those guys want to win, and they got to win, or they want to win a lot. So it's not going to be easy. Any of the teams and the top teams in the country, you got to go out there and you got to train at the level that you need to be to beat them. But then you also got to fight. That's the big thing is, it's a battle. So I think that seeing them lose helps bring a better fight to the table there when they step out on the mat. They're not, a lot of times you see it, wrestlers are beat before they step out on the mat. And I think that perspective has now been changed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your team specifically, just kind of glancing up and down the lineup. Seems like there's quite a bit of freshmen this year. So it's a lot of new faces, or at least
Yeah.
guys that might still be considered freshman eligibility wise.
Yep.
But there's a lot of balance and a lot of depth, and you got a lot of bodies in there. What have you kind of figured out what the lineup might look like? Do you know who the 10 are, at least maybe to start the year?
Yeah, so we had our wrestle offs on Saturday, so that kind of that kind of helps settle out some of that stuff. Yes, we are young, and that's the other exciting thing about the team. And you know, and they were a lot of the same guys were in the lineup last year as true freshmen. Now having that year, though it was a not as much experience as another year, with not the open tournaments, but they still got matches and got their feet wet there. So yeah, we're going to be pretty close to kind of the same guys we had last year. There's some guys that are moving around. We'll see some new faces, some guys that are coming out of injuries, but we've got we're heading out to Wichita this Saturday for a dual tournament with the Friends Invite, and we kind of have an idea of what those 10 guys would look like. So yeah, I think we're ready to compete. I know our guys are excited. I've been waiting for this for a long time. So yeah, I think we're geared up, ready to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know you're probably excited to watch everybody. I mean, clearly I could just tell there from the sound of your voice, but are there wrestlers who maybe you're a little bit more excited to see, once they finally hit competition, let's see how they really do. Like, who intrigues you the most maybe entering the year?
Yeah. So I would say some of our returning guys, someone that really, surprised me on Saturday was our 125 pounder Nadelo Charles Pierre. I mean, he probably wrestled better Saturday than he had all of last year. I mean, he just flipped a switch and came out there and was firing and being aggressive and getting some takedowns and scoring points. So I'm excited to continue to see him compete. Um, Cameron Hargrove was one of our top guys last year. He was wrestling 157 last year, went into the conference tournament with only one loss to an eventual All-American and Casares from Graceland. Didn't have the best conference tournament, so didn't end up placing, but 3 losses on the year. He's down at 149 this year with Joe Eads leaving the lineup, so kind of clears that spot for him, and he's been looking really good. So I'm excited to see. He had success at 157, and I think he's looking even a little bit better at 149. And then with Cameron moving down, Steven Hughes is dropping down from 165 down to 57. So I think, he had some success. I think that he's going to be a little bit tougher down a weight class, and, that 8 pounds will make a difference. So he's been looking pretty good. With that, we've got Michael Baker, who's been injured, kind of the last 2 years for us. Finally jumping in the lineup here at 165. He'll be, probably sharing some time with Matheson Mead, who's a freshman that's looking pretty tough right now. So excited to see those two continue to battle, and Michael make the lineup to kind of see, he hasn't had that first competition for us yet. So we're excited to see that. And then Mikhail Stanley, who was at 157 last year, seeing some success. He's up at 174 for us, which he wrestled 74 last year, pretty solid for us in a couple of matches, but that was with him weighing in at 157. So I'm excited to see what he can do up at 174 and kind of fill that spot for us. So we're pretty solid there in those middle weights. We've got Ray Lugo coming back at 197. He had a first half of the season last year undefeated, pretty solid. Didn't see any top 20 guys, but he was wrestling tough, and then kind of got injured there and sat out almost all of the second half, and then came back. Had one match before conference, so that kind of got a little rusty and a little injured there. So he'd cracked into the top 20. So I'm excited to see him get back out there too. So yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the last things I wanted to ask you about, Kind of wrestling related, kind of not. You grew up in Oskaloosa, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. What has it meant to you to be back in that community? With the wrestling program, William Penn, Oskaloosa. What has that meant to you the last few years, just to kind of be back and building a program back at home?
Yeah, I would say it's meant a lot, back when I was growing up, if you would have told me I'd have been the head coach at William Penn, I might say, hey, you're crazy. Um, I didn't think I would be living back home, but once you get away and you start having kids and raising a family, you want to be around your family. I wanted my kids to have a relationship with their grandparents. So being back, and Oskaloosa is where my wife's from too. So this is home for us, and having our kids around our family. And I definitely couldn't have, I wouldn't be as good of a head coach as I am right now without having my family and that support system behind me. They definitely help with the home crowd and support and being there for our home duels. And I've got 4 kids, so that being around them while traveling and doing all the duties that requires a coach, there's a lot of times where I've got late nights and traveling and recruiting, and being around family just kind of helps. So and it's great, and I want to try to make William Penn one of the best programs in the country, and it feels good doing that in my hometown, surrounded by my family.
That's awesome. Love hearing that. Coach, honestly, I think that was everything we needed from you, unless there was anything else you wanted to add.
No, I just thanks for the opportunity, Cody. I'm looking forward to this season, and just excited to get back out there and wrestling. Just love it. So I'm excited.
Awesome. We're excited to follow along. So I'll keep my eyes glued on your team, and look forward to talking to you down the line, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Cody.